I know this day was gonna come. Sooner or later. And today is the day.
One by one, expressing gratitude to the family members that had stood by his side for years.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
Grateful to everyone who never gave up fighting for his freedom.
Anything you'd like to say to community members who've been rallying behind you, waiting for this day?
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, so it's a good version of a Florida man. This gentleman is finally free. As you saw there, Sidney Holmes has now been exonerated of a conviction. He had already served more than 30 years in prison, and he was on a 400-year sentence for armed robbery charges before he was freed on Monday. This per CBS News. We have one rule here at the Broward Attorney's Office: do the right thing always. As prosecutors, our only agenda is to promote public safety in our community and to ensure that justice is served. I commend the victims, witnesses, and law enforcement officers for their candor and assistance in reinvestigating a crime that occurred more than 30 years ago. Holmes had been convicted of acting as the getaway driver for two men who robbed two people at gunpoint and stole one of the victims' cars just west of Fort Lauderdale, Florida on June 19, 1998, according to the state attorney's office. The two robbers remain unidentified. Now, Holmes had contacted the state attorney's conviction review unit in 2020 and told investigators he was innocent, which I'm sure they hear often, but this was a plausible claim of innocent. During the CRU's review of Holmes' case, it determined that the eyewitness identification of him, that it was likely incorrect and that there was no evidence connecting Holmes to the robbery outside of the flawed identification. An investigation launched by the brother of one of the victims also found that Holmes's car was likely misidentified at the time, and that key differences between his Oldsmobile and the one used by the robbers were overlooked, the state attorney Pryor said. The victims in the case both said that they thought Holmes should be released. Deputies, again, he had him sentenced for 400 years. And according to the Innocence Project, mistaken eyewitnesses contribute to approximately 69% of more than 375 wrongful convictions in the United States overturned by post-conviction DNA evidence. And this is something we've known for some time. And unfortunately, it ends up hitting Black people even harder, as we are more likely to be convicted wrongfully of any kind of assault or murder, and as a result, end up serving time, as this gentleman did, taking 30 years off of his life. And there are a lot of reforms out there that are suggested and that could help. The double-blind procedure, using a blind administrator. That's a double-blind lineup, is one in which neither the administrator nor the eyewitness knows who the suspect is. Providing instructions that are different. Instructions are a series of statements issued by the lineup administrator to the eyewitness that deter the eyewitness from feeling compelled to make a selection. Composing the lineup, suspect photographs should be selected that do not bring unreasonable attention to him. Confident statements immediately following the lineup procedure. The eyewitness should provide a statement in his own words that articulates a level of confidence that they had when it came to the identification, and the lineup procedure should be documented. Ideally, the lineup procedure would be electronically recorded. If it's impractical, an audio or written statement. And 25 states have implemented the core reforms promoted by the Innocence Project, either through legislation, court action, or substantial voluntary compliance. But of course, Florida is not one of those states to have done so. So as much as the Broward County DA wants to say that they are there focused on truth and ensuring that people who are innocent are not convicted, clearly they're not putting the necessary protocols in place to ensure that there is a lesser chance of having an innocent person be convicted. This is incredibly disheartening. Brett?
400-year prison sentence.
400 years.
Like, if you really wanted to really like come up with a ridiculous thing that you made up about the American legal system, it would be a 400-year sentence. The fact that we have people in robes with gavels hitting them very sternly, think of like your courtroom drama, and they were like, I sentence you to 1,000,000 billion years. I'm not ridiculous at all. That should be a tip off to you. I think just whether it's right or wrong, I want you to take outside of just the viewer. I want you to think whether it's the right thing or wrong thing to do, just from an argument perspective. What Adrian, you just read about the justifications for the reforms and the reforms themselves to the lineup identifying process, something we all kind of have a knowledge of through procedural courtroom dramas. Good luck arguing against that and getting people to go along with you. Like, oh, if we want you to identify someone in a lineup and tell us who it was, you should probably tell us how confident you are in that appraisal. We should have you look at a list of things blind without someone saying, it was this guy, wasn't it? All of those are wildly common sense reforms that I don't see having any negative impact on anything except for wrongful imprisonment. And everybody from an argument standpoint should be able to get behind rightful imprisonment. And in doing that, you have to get rid of the things that just make the legal system that people even on the right would uphold. You got it, having wrongful convictions that are proven in a court of law to be wrongful and get overturned. All it does is reduce faith in the incarceral system. And it exposes what I think a lot of people think when it comes to law and order candidates, which is like folks that vote for people like that think they're gonna never be caught on the wrong side of the law. And by wrong side, I don't mean you broke the law, but just like the legal system screwing you over. And so they're like, my dominant strategy is to over incarcerate so that I myself will be even more safe because I'm never gonna get caught up in profiling or anything negative like that. Those are my thoughts on all that.
Yeah, that's true, because most people do not think that they will be caught up in the system, so to speak, because they think if I'm just law abiding, it's never gonna be a problem for me. But then again, also when it comes to those eyewitness errors and mistakes, again, it's generally not the people who are in positions of power that are subject to them. It's generally individuals who don't have power, Black people, poor people, brown people in our society. And as a result, those in power have no desire or interest necessarily to put in the safeguards to hopefully prevent the incarceration of those people because it simply doesn't impact them. It's extremely disheartening and it's disgusting, especially because you can't give someone 30 years of their life back. And I'm sure whatever small amount of money he may receive from the state, if Florida even has that available, it's not gonna be able to make up for it. I'm glad that gentleman now can be able to start his life, but still it was taken from him by the state. And that's a problem.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.